All right, let's cut through all the noise. We are constantly hearing about AI, but where is it actually headed in the next couple of years? In this explainer, we're going to build a really clear, grounded picture of AI's trajectory for 2026. And we'll do that by looking at what's happening right now, both out in the real world and deep inside the research labs.
Okay, so to really get a handle on where AI is going, you've got to understand that it's not just one single road. It's actually more like two parallel paths, and believe it or not, they're only just now starting to really intersect. Let's break those down.
So on one path, you've got applied AI. This is what's happening inside businesses today. The focus here, it's all about stability, reliability, and, getting a real return on your investment. Then, on the other path, you've got research AI. This is the wild stuff, all about pushing the absolute limits of what's even possible. We're going to explore both, and we'll start with the real world. First up, let's take a look at how businesses are changing their thinking. It's no longer about just sprinkling a few AI features on top of products. Nope. The real shift for 2026 is all about operationalizing AI. I mean, really weaving it into the core of how work actually gets done. Okay, so what we're looking at here are the 5 big trends that really define how AI is getting adopted in the business world. You can see how they kind of build on each other, right? We start with these specialist models and then move all the way up to reliable agents and, crucially, a data advantage. Let's walk through them. So the first major shift is a big one, and it's maybe a little counterintuitive. We're moving away from this idea that bigger is always better when it comes to AI models. Instead, the focus is really shifting to smaller, domain-tuned models that are absolute experts at very specific tasks. And why? Why is this happening? Well, it's because companies crave efficiency and control, and these smaller specialist models, they deliver exactly that. They cost way less to run, you can actually predict their behavior, you can safely train them on your own private data, and you get to own them completely. And this quote just brilliantly sums up the new mantra in applied AI. It's not about having the single largest, most powerful model out there. It's about having the right model for the job, one that's efficient, controllable, and secure. All right, trend number 2. This is all about AI moving from being just a button you click to something that's deeply, deeply integrated into the core processes of a business. I'm talking sales planning, financial operations, even engineering sprints. This is so crucial. Successful AI isn't some add-on. It's becoming part of the operational fabric of a company. The teams that are really winning aren't just shipping AI buttons. They are embedding intelligence directly into the way people work. Now, these last 3 trends in the real-world path, they all kind of work together to create this powerful flywheel. And it all starts with these agentic systems, which are basically AIs that can take actions and complete tasks on their own, finally becoming reliable enough for real production work. This is the trifecta that's really making things happen. First, agents are graduating from being cool demos to actual operational tools. At the exact same time, companies are having this aha moment, realizing that the quality of their own internal data is a way bigger advantage than just raw model size. And finally, cheaper hardware is making real-time AI, AI that can respond instantly, not just possible, but actually practical. So that's what's happening out in the enterprise. Now let's switch gears and jump over to our second path. Let's see what's going on at the cutting edge. Forget about crazy future bets. This is about what the top researchers are laser focused on right now. Where is the frontier of AI actually being pushed? And, just like in the business world, we're seeing 5 really clear directions that are defining the frontier of AI research. So let's take a quick look at this map of innovation before we dive into the details. First off, researchers aren't just trying to make models bigger anymore. They're optimizing how the models scale. Efficiency has become the new frontier. And at the same time, they're building models that go way, way beyond just text. Multimodality is pretty much becoming the default expectation. And this is leading to the rise of what people are calling world models. Think about it. They're not just predicting the next word in a sentence anymore. They're being built from the ground up to understand and interact with vision, with audio, and even with digital environments. And this shift, this is what lets AI agents actually use tools and interfaces, not just, process words on a screen. So the other huge push in the research world is all about building models that are just fundamentally more reliable and understandable. It's about moving from systems that are really clever pattern matchers to an AI that we can truly trust to be robust and predictable. So what does that look like? Well, we're seeing models being trained to use tools as a core part of their thinking process. Research is pushing way beyond simple chain of thought, where the model just explains its steps, to create actual structured reasoning and planning. And so importantly, there's a huge focus on interpretability, on actually understanding what's going on inside the model's black box to get more control and slash those errors. Okay, now what's really, really interesting about all this is that when you kind of zoom out, you see that these two separate paths, the practical applied world and the frontier research world, are actually heading toward the exact same destination. This slide brings it all together, and it shows this really surprising alignment. Let's just walk through it. In the lab, they're working on models that can truly reason and plan. Out in the real world, they just need agents that don't break. See the connection? Researchers are optimizing how we scale models. Businesses want smaller models and cheaper costs. The labs see tool use as a core capability. The enterprise sees AI-powered operations. And both sides agree that grounding these models in high-quality data is absolutely essential. So what does all this convergence, what does it actually mean for you? Well, it gives us 4 new, really clear rules for how to think about AI as we head toward 2026. These right here are the 4 pillars to focus on. First, reliability. It now matters way more than just raw, flashy capability. Second, efficiency, both in cost and performance, is a real strategic advantage. Third, you got to think of AI as core infrastructure, not just a product feature. And finally, recognize that the quality of your own data, well, that's the new law of scaling. And that leaves us with a final thought to take away from this whole explainer. The competitive edge is shifting. It's really no longer about who has the biggest, baddest model. It's about who can feed their models the highest quality, most relevant data. So the real question for 2026 is, are you ready for that shift?